I see. Well, here's the mic.
Hello?
I want to give you authority.
Oh boy, I feel like an entertainer.
Well, here's your opportunity, guys. I can tell you right now, you can ask any question you want, but when it comes to...
I may not know the answer, but you can go ahead and ask.
But just be respectful, just take your time, so here's Stan.
Stan, can I ask you a question, please? Hi.
Yes, you may ask a question. The first volunteer. Yes, sir.
My name's Adam. Please.
Hi, I'm Stan.
Hi, Stan. We hear a lot about the creative process that you went through with Steve Ditko and Jack Kirby in your offices. It's a lot of imagination, we're jumping around and acting out scenes. But what was it really like?
Well, it was really like exactly what you said. I would come up with something like, we needed a villain. And I said, I like the name Dr. Doom. You know, you can't get much more villainous sounding than that. I said, I think it would be fun if he's the king of his own country. So when he comes to any other country, he can't get arrested because he has diplomatic immunity. And then I thought it would be a good idea if he wore an iron mask and a cloak, and he'd really look. So Jack said, well, how come he wears a mask? So I said, well, how about when he was young, he was in an accident and his face was scarred, and that made him hate everybody and decide that he was going to get revenge. But the funny thing about it was, Jack had him sitting in a chair in one drawing, and he sat like this. And I said, Jack, he's Dr. Doom. He doesn't sit like this. He sits like this. Yeah. And Jack drew him that way. And that's what I used to do. I'm really a frustrated ham. I always wanted to be an actor. So I used to love to be with the artist and say, no, the character doesn't point like that. He points like that, you know, and I'd always act everything out, and sometimes I'd jump on the table and I'd say, this is the way you ought to fall off the table, and hurt myself all the time. But it was fun, and I think the artists enjoyed it too. We made a game out of it almost. We kept acting out all the roles for the characters. I almost felt guilty getting paid for what we did, because it was like we were playing all the time. And you see, you ask a question, you get an answer. That's the way I am, great human being. That pointed right? There you go, yes sir.
Hello.
Hi, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. I just want to say, well, of all the bad guys that you've ever made, how many of them can you relate to? Or
How many what can I relate to?
How many of the bad guys can you relate to?
Oh, I relate to all the bad guys. I tell you, I love the villains more than the heroes, because the hero is just a good guy. He says, oh, something bad is happening, I better take care of it. And that's about all you can do with the hero. But with the villain, you can have a lot of fun. I mean, the villains have so many motives for what they do, and they're always planning to destroy the human race and to kill the hero, and they're a lot of fun, as long as they're not real. I wouldn't want to meet one in real life, because I'm basically a coward. Yes, sir.
Hi. I was going to ask, do you ever feel under pressure by any rival companies, like DC? What did you ever have to do something amazing to get back on top?
Did I feel any pressure from other companies like DC? Did I have to do anything amazing to stay on top? You say something like that? No. Yeah. No, I was very lucky. I think we had the best artists, we had the best writers, and poor DC, they did the best they could. I don't know if I mentioned this yesterday at one of the panels. I don't know if you were there, but I think it's a funny story. After we were doing our strips, Fantastic Four and Spider-Man and the Hulk and all of them, and they were selling very well. I decided to change the name of our company, which at that time was Atlas. And I said, we need a better name. Let's call it Marvel. Marvel is a great name, because besides being a ham actor, I love advertising. And I thought Marvel was a good name. We could use to advertise, because we could come up with phrases like, "Make mine Marvel." "Welcome to the Marvel age of comics. Marvel marches on." You know, what kind of corny things like that. When we changed our name, DC had been named National Comics. And they decided, well, if Atlas changes its name to Marvel, we'll change our name too. And they spent a lot of money hiring an organization. I didn't know there were such organizations that their business is they come up with names for companies. So they paid this organization a lot of money, and the name they came up with was DC. And we were Marvel, and they were DC. So that'll give you an idea of how much competition we had. Competition. Yes, sir.
Hi, Stan.
Hi.
What do you feel about the fact that a lot of heroes kill people?
Heroes kill people now?
Yeah. What do you feel about that?
You know, I haven't been reading the books lately, and I didn't know that heroes are killing people, but if you want my honest opinion, I don't like it.
Yeah.
I tried not to have anybody really kill anybody, but once we had Spider-Man's girlfriend died, but that was a very important thing, and we made a big thing out of it. But we never had our heroes really kill anybody that I can remember, and I don't, if they are doing it, I don't know why.
Okay.
And I will look into it. Yes, sir.
I mean, you wrote, obviously, fantastic stories, but was there a writer that you really did stories that you wished you had done? Was there something you admired in the comics?
The one writer that I really admire in comics is not an American, but he's an English writer, and he's the fellow who did the, they did a movie of it, I forget the name.
Watchmen?
Watchmen.
Who?
Alan Moore.
Alan Moore, that's the guy.
Yeah.
I think he is great. I mean, he is the most imaginative writer. It's just a shame that none of the movies they made of his stories really did justice to him. But other than that, I mean, I like most of the writers, but to me, Alan Moore stands out. I was kind of hoping he'd be here. I'd love to have met him. If you see him, give him my regards.
Will
Okay?
do. Stan?
Yes, sir. Well, either one of you.
Ladies first.
The lady first.
I was wondering, as a writer, do you ever feel guilty for killing off characters? Do you ever feel like connected to them, or do you just say, oh, they're fictional, they're not real, I don't care, they're just...
Do I ever feel connected to who?
Your characters, like when you kill them off or something, do you ever feel like that affects you? Does it stay with you, or can you dismiss it?
She said a funny thing. She said, do I feel connected to my characters like when I kill them off? I don't kill them off. I killed one character. I once killed her father. No, I killed her father, Captain Stacy in Spider-Man. And then the next thing I knew, when I stopped writing the script, a writer named, I forgot his name, but he killed Gwen Stacy, the daughter.
Yeah.
Jerry Conway. And I said to him, what's the matter with you, Jerry? Are you mad at the Stacy family? No, the only one I think I ever remember killing was poor Gwen Stacy. But the reason I killed her, it's a very funny thing. When we started, I mean, killing her isn't funny. I mean, it's an ironic thing. I don't want to say the wrong thing because I'm supposed to be a writer. When we started doing the script, after Steve Ditko left it, and John Romita and I were doing Spider-Man, and I thought that Gwen Stacy would be the girl that Peter would eventually end up with. But then we introduced Mary Jane, MJ as I call her. Funny, I didn't really know anything about drugs. I was never involved with them. And I didn't know that MJ stood for marijuana until people told me. But it was too late to change it. So anyway, all of a sudden, it was like the characters had come to life. MJ had more personality than Gwen Stacy, and there was nothing we could do about it. No matter how John drew them, and no matter how I wrote them, MJ was just more fun than Gwen Stacy. And we finally decided, gee, I think maybe Peter Parker ought to end up with MJ. So how did we get Gwen Stacy out of the way? See, when you're a writer, you're like God. You can kill people. So anyway, we killed Gwen Stacy, and that's why, and I'm a little sorry we didn't. She's the only character I remember ever killing. Yes, sir.
Hi, Stan, thank you.
See, he gave him the camera because it's hard for you to talk with a camera in your hand. It's very difficult. Glad to see you.
Avengers 2, okay? Masters of Evil, because heroes, villains are more important. Who would be your Masters of Evil against the Avengers in the movie?
In the movie? Oh, golly. Well, Dr. Doom I'd have lead. I know he's probably not in the movie. I don't know who the villains are in the movie.
But if you could choose them.
But I would have Dr. Doom, I'd probably have the Lizard, I'd probably bring Doc Ock back again, I'd have Thanos, is there a...
God, yeah.
Is that the right name?
Yeah.
It's been so long. And I'd have Galactus.
Yeah. You have to bring him out.
The Avengers ought to really have a tough time.
That's
it,
it,
you know?
yeah.
There's a hand way back here, way over there. Yes, sir.
Hi, Sam. Is it true that you created the Fantastic Four after a golf match between like the head people at DC and Marvel at the time, or?
Son of a gun, this man knows his history. Well, I didn't base the stories about what happened was we weren't doing superhero stories at the time, and my publisher was playing golf with the publisher of DC Comics, which was then National Comics, before they made that smart change. And the publisher of National Comics told my publisher, we've got this book, The Justice League, and it's selling very well. He shouldn't have said that. So my publisher, whose name was Martin Goodman, Martin came running back to the office and he said, hey Stan, National has a book with a lot of superheroes that's selling well. Why don't you do a book with a few superheroes? Well, he was my boss, so I had to do what he told me. So I came up with the Fantastic Four, and the rest, as they say, is history.
Stan.
Oh, let's go to this side. Yeah, way back there.
Hi, Stan.